today and be able to share with you what's going on with the ELKR Symphony. We were here several years ago, and we continue to make progress, and some exciting things have happened. This.
You don't want them.
Wait,
Start that.
I was just.
We should start.
You. I was trusting.
I know. It's already. There we go. Thank you.
Where was I? I'm not gonna start. No. So during the pandemic, we hired a new conductor. We'll talk more about that. The Elkhart County Symphony orchestra members are local musicians. We do not have people fly in for a week and do it. The only person that's not local is our conductor. But we pride ourselves in giving an opportunity for local musicians to have an opportunity to play, as well as to present exciting programming for the community, try to find more and more diverse ways so that we have something for everybody in our concerts. We hope you can come. This season marks the 75th diamond anniversary of the symphony. So we've been looking through files and finding some interesting information, how it goes when you go back into the archives. We need a historian, but we don't have one here. The symphony was founded in 1948 by George Sigmund Gaska, who was from South Bend, and he had an amazing, he was full of energy, vitality, and the music industry in Elkhart was really a big deal at that time. And he was able to bring a lot of people together and leaders in the symphony. And they formed the Elkhart Symphony. They practiced at the Buckland Theater. And then there's concerts. Other concerts were at the old Elkhart High School. Was it a combined gym and auditorium, I think, from looking at pictures, but I don't know myself yet. He had a real pioneering spirit, and he was great at finding innovative, creative ways to present concerts. So one of the things they did was they had pop concerts, and these were rare in those times, with adventurous programming. And so going to the symphony was a big thing to do at that time. One example, 1951, there was a Pops concert in the Elkhart High School gym auditorium, and they had orchestras on the floor, and they had tables around on multiple levels. So the ticket price to get into that concert was 25 cents. How things have changed. If you wanted to sit at a table and get a group of friends together, you had to pay a dime more. That was a good deal. When Gaska retired in 1978, he was replaced by Michael Esselstrom, who was on the staff at IUSB, and he brought included things from the IUSB in the concerts. There was a time when the symphony, there was the terrazzo piano competitions, and the symphony performed for the sole finalists for that. And we also collaborated with the choral department. After Mike retired, after a round of guest conductors, Dan Somerville, who taught at Wheaton College, was the conductor for 6 years. And then in 2005, the board was financially struggling, and the board was going to dissolve the operation of the symphony, and a group of musicians and people supporting the symphony got together and formed the SOS, Save Our Symphony Committee. And a lot of hard decisions were made. And so for several years after that, we had guest conductors that came to do our concerts. In 2009, then Brian Groner became the conductor of the symphony. So now we're getting closer. So maybe some of these names you recognize. Brian lived on the south side of Chicago. He was a conductor at numerous different orchestras. That's his passion, was conducting. And when he came, he brought to the orchestra a lot of knowledge and experience in working with community orchestras, and was very instrumental in helping the symphony get back on the right track. So Brian had already planned to retire in 2020. That was when the pandemic hit. So the last concert that he was going to conduct got canceled. We had one rehearsal, and then everything got closed up. That weekend, everything just got closed down. So we've had the final rehearsal with him, but we did have a search committee lined up, and so, Mark now led that committee, and it was all done virtually. And it was a really interesting experience to do it. And we met interesting people. Usually we would have chosen several, and then we would have and then after they conducted a concert, then we make our decision. But after meeting all these different conductors virtually, there was one head and shoulders above everybody else. And that was our new conductor, Stu Hahn. Stu Hahn
right in front of Chicken Health Center.
Was an orchestra director at Carmel High School. Consistently, that orchestra won.
Yeah, it was cool. I went with a couple of friends, and Saturday night when we had that big thunderstorm, everybody that was on the patio filled into the glass.
Got his doctorate in conducting. Went to Wallace University in Ohio. So we thought that Cleveland, that's not too far. We can make this work. And then he got hired by George Mason in just outside Washington, D.C. But by that time, he brings so much enthusiasm and excitement to our orchestra. He is very musical.
Yeah, even then, the school is really early still, but it's kind of nice. There's always someplace else to go. But yeah, this is well, they were open till midnight, and they served food until 11. I was like, this is awesome. So I'm trying to convince Corey to go later tonight, like around 7 or something. But I'll have to tell him that I saw you. He always talks highly of you. I will. Have a good day.
Just like another one.
overflowing amount of great musicians in the Elkhart area. Have been for a long time. That's part of the musical heritage of the place, and that certainly is no exception now. Modern iteration of the orchestra. Music educators, all levels from K to college. They're local workers. Some of them are instrument craftsmen still, and the remaining part of the industry this year, college professors. Many of them have other vocations associated with music in some ways, but certainly they're not earning their living by being in the orchestra. They perform in the orchestra because they absolutely love to play, and they love to play in a symphony orchestra together. The performances are here. Our home base is the Lerner Theater. We're proud to be the resident orchestra of the Lerner Theater. We have established over the last 5 years a performance venue with the Wellfield Botanic Gardens, thanks to Eric and his staff, so that we start each of our seasons outdoors for a more pops-oriented kind of concert, but outdoors and in that venue. It's a great way to start your season. The acquaintance and the visitors of the ocean area. We have a brand new small ensemble series has been to have more county performances in more venues for even a wider and wider array of audiences. We believe we're really doing that. So then another one of the commitments of the orchestra is to really be a center for education, your home for education. And there we go. That includes some of the things Karen already mentioned, but one of them is that for the last several years, we've done a side-by-side performance with one of the high school orchestras. Karen and I started meeting with the high school music educators a few years ago, particularly pre-pandemic. And one of the things they suggested was our high schoolers need an opportunity to sit right next to professional performers and play something along with them so that they're performing that together. It's a great learning experience for high school students to do that. They come back from that experience and they play differently as a result of that one performance. So we continue that, and this year we're highlighting the Concord High School Orchestra. We'll be performing with the symphony at the February concert. We'll highlight them as well as the symphony on Work Together. We also started a project called the Special Guests of the Symphony, where we invite elementary school students who are there at the invitation of their music teacher in their local elementary school. They come to the concert as our guests, but we also include their parents and their teachers, their classroom teachers and their music educator in that, so that they come together as a group to experience the symphony as young students who are interested in music and whose music teachers believe they will benefit from that experience. Karen mentioned Suhan's pre-concert talks. That also is something that we started with Stu, because he is very much an educator and dedicated to that kind of work. So talking about what the symphony is going to perform, what's it like, what's on this composition, what should you listen for during this concert? Those kinds of things include the audience, all of them, and learning more about the music. And the theory there is simply that as you learn more about it, you begin to listen more acutely, and you begin to hear things in the music that you would have missed otherwise. The knowledge really helps the listening experience. We also have a great relationship with Concord schools and Elkhart schools. They've provided rehearsal facilities for the orchestra for years, decades, actually, and that's something that they do simply pro bono. There's no charge that we incur for that, and we greatly appreciate that support and the use of their rehearsal rooms in both school corporations. Those kinds of things make education important to us and important to others within the community. We're also working on building a legacy of musical kind of growth and all of that in the area, in the entire community by simply being a good partner. There are many other great organizations that we can partner with, and we listed some of them here. We already said a couple of them. The Lunar Theater certainly has been a great partner. The Wellfield Botanic Gardens, Souder Hall at Goshen College, the Elkhart Civic Theater. Just a couple of things, 3 weeks ago, we had a great collaborative performance with Elkhart Civic Theater, 7 of their singers and a small portion of the orchestra, about 20 musicians, performed in the Wellfield. A great evening of Broadway tunes and all that. It was great fun to collaborate with the Elkhart Civic Theater. The Elkhart Public Library, which we mentioned before, the Goshen Public Library, the Elkhart Jazz Festival, and the Elkhart County Public Schools. All of those have been partners, and we have enjoyed working with them. And we believe that what we're doing strengthens what all of those organizations are able to offer to the community. And likewise, each one of those accompanying organizations help the symphony fulfill its mission as well. That's a number of things that are going on that we're proud to be a part of. We're proud to be a part of this community, and absolutely, we are this community. We're reflective of it, and we hope to do that more and demonstrate that to an even wider audience. We would not probably, this wouldn't be, and some of you know this from back in the pandemic days where we actually were doing everything virtually, that Suhan was a guest on that and spoke very well. We have a little video clip of him. He actually prepared something directly for today, especially that he wanted to share with you. So this is Suhan by a video from Eastern Pennsylvania, I believe.
Hello, and greetings to the members of the Rotary Club of Elkhart. My name is Suhan, the music director for the Elkhart County Symphony Orchestra, and I am joining you from the beautiful rolling hills of Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, where my parents live. I'm here fulfilling my son's responsibilities before I head back to DC for the start of the school year at George Mason University. So this is why I am unable to join you in person. I sincerely apologize, but grateful for this opportunity to join you virtually. When I think about the mission of the Rotary Club, to provide service to others, promote integrity, and advance world understanding, goodwill, and peace through fellowship, I think to myself, hey, that's who and what we are, and we strive to be through music as proud members of Elkhart County Symphony Orchestra. Furthermore, I am very moved when I hear you cite one of your specific mission, that the Rotary Club of Elkhart serves your community and beyond through the things that you think, say, and do every day. This again is a core value that we also hold as the Elkhart County Symphony Orchestra, and we hope that our friendship and partnership continues to blossom to help one another accomplish our goals. Music amplifies the human experience. And it is with this belief that we, the Elkhart County Symphony Orchestra, strive to be a source of civic pride, a wellspring of imaginative experience, and an opportunity for educational growth, and a destination for cross-generational entertainment. We strive to accomplish this by first and foremost breaking down any barriers that stand in the way that says the orchestra experience is only for a certain group of people. We believe that music is music is music. Orchestra is for everyone, and we want everyone to see themselves reflected in what and why we, the Elkhart County Symphony Orchestra, make music. I know that my colleagues have shared or will share some of the key highlights of our season, and we hope that you will join us. For me, it's really hard to choose just one concert that I am the most excited about, from our baritone soloist Brian Major joining us from Philadelphia for our very first concert at Wellfield, to Beethoven 9 joined by Goshen College and the Camerata Singers, to celebrating our 75th anniversary and partnering with Abby Thomas, a brilliant songwriter and contemporary artist based in our community. It's going to be so much fun. So before I close, just on a personal note, when I was appointed to this position during the pandemic, the Rotary Club of Elkhart was the very first organization in the community that welcomed me as a guest speaker at one of your meetings. And so that gesture meant more to me than I think you will all know. And for this reason and many more, your organization will always hold a special place in my heart. I really look forward to seeing many of you in person throughout our upcoming season. Please join us. Bring your friends, family, and let's get doing the work and mission of our organizations. Thank you so much and take care.
During our 75th anniversary. I think that we have a couple of minutes left. If you have some questions, Karen and I will be happy to try to address them or answer them. Yes, all the way in the back.
You talk about pulling all the musicians from the community, which begs the question to me, what is the state of the musicians and musicianship over time? Where are we now? As opposed to where we were back when, I guess, we really were the band instrument capital of the world.
It's a great question. I'll give it a try. Karen is going to be the authority on that with the firsthand knowledge of actually being in the symphony over a lot of that span. But I would say this, very interestingly, the caliber generally of music that has happened relative to starting in the public schools and continuing on into adult life has actually improved. The techniques that are known, the teaching, the kind of really making the most of time available has actually elevated the level of musical performance in lots of places, but certainly here. That simply is a product over time of great teachers taking very the effort, expending the effort that it takes to make that education worthwhile for students. College music education has changed rather dramatically for the better over that time. So while there were decent kinds of performances, certainly no question about that in the 1940s and 1950s, actually it's elevated now in terms of what can be expected in the caliber of play that we can expect from people who live right here and perform in the orchestra. Karen probably has a perspective to share as well on that.
No, I think that's really well said. I know if you listen as a high school director, what was expected when I started teaching of high school musicians and what was expected at the state level when I retired. The expectation had risen so much. It was pretty amazing how that happened, which I think is good for all of us. And that's also, I think recordings, we're used to listen to recordings all the time. And I think that raises the expectation of what our orchestra should sound like too, because we've heard the recordings where they've done editing to make sure there aren't any mistakes, but live music does sometimes have mistakes. But still, as an audience person, you expect to hear something more of that caliber. So I think it's probably better now than it was then.
Another question?
Interesting question.
All right. If not, thank you very much. We appreciate the program.
Again, if you want to attend next Monday night, please see Julia before you leave. If nothing else, meeting adjourned.